How to use the leave balance screen in UpRaise. This feature is available in UpRaise for Employee Garrison and UpRaise People apps for Jira. On my screen here, you'll notice I've navigated to the leaves or time off screen, and in there, the leave balance tab. The intention behind the screen is fairly straightforward based on the name itself. It tells you the information with regards to the leave balance of employees against different leave types. Let's understand how to utilize the screen. First and foremost, at the top, you've got filters. Here, you can choose the leave policy or time off policy, whatever you have named it, to filter the data. If I switch over to the EU leave policy, there are no users associated with this leave policy in the given duration. So there is no data. So I'll switch over to the default leave policy. I can look at the leave balance for the earlier years as well. So you'll notice I can change this to a different year and I can see the leave balance. You'll notice in this policy period, by the way, this 1st of April is based on the policy renewal date. We have already talked about it in the video that details out the leave policy configurations. So we will not be talking about it once again, but just keep in mind that this policy period, this 1 year duration, is essentially based on the renewal date of the leave policy. Then you've got the user status. Do you also want to look at the data for inactive or deleted users? You can choose the status accordingly. If you wanted to look at a specific user's data, you can do that as well. And if you wanted to take it a little further and pull up information about a specific leave type, you can do that as well. So for example, in here, you'll notice for this user, the casual leaves in the last policy period, they had accrued 22 leaves, availed 19.5, and the balance was 2.5. If I switch to the current year, you'll notice they accrued 22 once again, and this time they have availed 22, so their balance is 0. I can get rid of the leave type selector and I'll be able to see all of the leave types that are associated with that policy. Even the disabled ones are displayed in there. So if we look at the different columns, the first column is, of course, name of the leave type. The second column tells you whether the leave is a paid leave or is an unpaid leave. Then you've got the total number of accruals. If there were any credit adjustments, they'll be displayed in this column. Debit adjustments in this column. Any leaves that the employees have availed at this point in time will appear in this column. Any leaves that were carried forward from the last policy period will be displayed in here. And any leaves that are scheduled, meaning anything that is applied or approved for a future date, as long as it is within the policy period, that will be displayed in here, and accordingly the balance calculation is displayed. You can also export this information if you wanted to utilize it for, let's say, I don't know, annual payroll processing, leave encashment, or that kind of stuff. You can utilize this for getting data of all the users that are displayed or getting data for specific users. Also, what information is displayed, that is dependent on the logged in users' permissions. I mean, If a normal user is logged in, they'll see only their own information, their own leave balance. Whereas if a manager is logged in, obviously it will eventually depend on the permission, but by default, the managers will be able to see the leave balance for their team members. So all of that is dictated through the permissions that we'll talk about in a separate video. But for now, I hope this explanation of the leave balance or time off balance screen was helpful for you. Thank you.